Thank you so much for joining. Please have a seat. We're about to start. Yeah. All right. Let's start the event on time. So please, I will ask everyone to grab a seat. Come and let's kick off this amazing night. AI for Marketer 24. So it means that it's been a while that we're doing those events. And thank you so much for being here tonight. So just waiting one more second so that everyone is sitting. Thank you. Right. So my name is Alison, and I will be your host tonight. And I'm part of the AI user group. Do you know the AI user group already? So I'm going to explain you quickly. It's a community of professionals, and we want to connect peers around AI and the latest trend in the market. We have 3 audiences: marketers, designers, and developers. Tonight is for marketers, and it's a monthly meetup. So if it's your first meetup, please join again, because we do that every month, and it's great to stay in touch with the latest AI tools in the market. So tonight you have the chance to meet 3 marketing leaders. And before that, I will show you a slide about an exciting event that we are hosting in 1 month from now, April 15 to 17. It's the AI User Conference. It will be held at Fort Mason. Yes. Please take a picture, because we are offering you free tickets to attend, because you're part of our community. You might have received an email already. I would highly recommend to join right now, because this is a limited access. So this conference will be 4 tracks. One is the main stage with solo slots of leaders industry, such as Zapier, Tavers, Artisan, who else? Many AI top names in the market, and we'll have 3 workshop tracks where you have the opportunity to be trained. So it's a large program, and we also have a booth area where you'll be able to network and mingle and meet peers. So check it out and please attend. We also have another ticket that is paid, but at a very interesting price, because it's 50% off on the early bird price. And this ticket will give you access to the workshop tracks. It's limited access, so again, if you want to be trained, check the program online. If you have any question after the event, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions, because we are working really hard to make this event happening. All right, next slide. Yes, so this meetups is a community of professionals. So we're always looking for new professional in the market that wants to spread the word about what they're doing, if they are launching a new product, if they want to meet their customer. It's the best place to be. So talk to us and we'll find a spot for you to be here on stage. One house guideline will be closing at 8:50, so please keep that in mind. We'll have the networking session and then some pizza, so it's always nice to mingle. Just keep in mind we'll be closing around 9. And we have an open mic announcement after the 3 talks. It's a very good opportunity for you guys to take the mic and kind of say something for 1 minute. So if you have a project, if you're launching something, if you're looking for beta testers, if you are hiring, come here. It's a good opportunity to spread the word. And we're also recording, so hello people online. Let's get started with the agenda. night, we'll have 3 speakers. We will start with Arjun, and he will talk about AI and email marketing. Then it will be Paul Sears about human and AI, the synergy between both, and he'll explain what he does with his how do I say, Navigator collective program. And then in the 3rd place, we'll have Ej Cho, and he will talk about infinite marketing assets for every customer segment and use case. So let's get started and give a warm round of applause to Arjun. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time in this pretty rainy and cloudy day to come here. It took me forever to come. The roads were pretty nasty with the weather and stuff. So my name is Arjun Saksena. I'm the founder and CEO of Humanic. I previously worked at Adobe on Photoshop and Illustrator, doing many of the things that had inspired me to start Humanic a couple of years ago. At Humanic, we are building agentic email marketing. So if you heard of MailChimp, Marketo, any of these companies, we are building the AI version of it. And Humanic stands for human plus machine. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Cool. So the world sends about 400 billion emails a day. And many of these emails that are sent by B2B marketing teams land in your inbox, and you don't even bother to open them. So people spend a lot of time trying to figure out, they buy tools, they are teams, and any B2B marketer that has ever configured a email campaign knows how much work and how much effort it is, and how low the response rates are in email marketing. And just one type of clarification, in email marketing there are two parts. One is prospecting, which is outbound. You take you buy a list and you send it out. We are not doing that. We are about lifecycle marketing, where you have opted-in email addresses. And that is your real high intent users, because they have given you the email address, they've looked at your website, they understand their value prop, and that is why there is a lot of effort and time put in by people to nurture them. And this problem is widespread and pervasive. Like anybody who has an online presence or any kind of app or tool has some leads, that's why they're there, and they nurture them. And so this has been a problem to improve for the last 25 odd years. Now, every B2B marketing team has to make 3 simple decisions. Who to send, which is the segmentation bit. Like if you have 100,000, 500,000, millions of users, who are you going to send it to? And this can take 1 to 4 weeks, and I think I've been pretty optimistic. Sometimes it takes forever to figure out what are these segments. Then the real issue happens, like what to send. The writing the content, getting the design right, getting the layouts to render properly in Gmail and Outlook and all is like a never-ending task for most teams. And then when to send is the optimization. Like how do you continue to do this? What we are doing is that all of these 3 things, what to send, segmentation, the content writing, when to send, are AI agents that work with each other to automatically create your campaign for you. Cool? I'm going to talk about it more. But before I do that, let me take a step back and share how I think this entire landscape, like if you are in the space, how this entire landscape is forming. So obviously there are these foundation models, OpenAI, Anthropic, et cetera. They're creating all these models and things. But at a high level, if you look at the application layer, there are 3 types of companies that are getting formed. One that focus on a single workflow, like Humanic does, or many others, Descript, Typeface, like the list is endless, where they're going deep into one single workflow. Then there are companies like High Touch, recently announced, they raised a bunch of money, to say that we will do a team workflow. Anything that your marketing team needs to do, from SEO to content to email to whatever, we'll do all of these things, and we'll coordinate the task and do will improve the efficiency of the entire enterprise. And then there are even more ambitious companies out there like Emma and Relevance, and I think to some point Sierra AI, which is the co-CEO of Salesforce. They are building platforms on top of these LLMs that are one employee, infinite roles. So you could do legal and marketing and HR and everything, and those are the platforms. And in my view, all of the existing SaaS platforms are going to become agentic platforms. So they'll either transform and survive, or new companies will take the space. But these are the three flavors in which the attempts are being made to drive even more efficiency within organizations. Hopefully that is helpful. Now, how are we generating better emails? So we, like I said, do lifecycle marketing. So we sit on top of your data warehouse, your CRM, your product analytics, like Amplitude or Segment, and we take that data and we create LLM. We use the LLMs to create micro cohorts automatically. This is the what to send part. And because this is your first party data, this is the most valuable data you have. This is what you want to activate. And several times to activate this, you need to figure out who are the right people that are in different motivations or different things. They're different parts they're in different milestones within my product. So we do all of that automatically, and that is sort of the innovation. And then once we have those cohorts, we create the strategy, like at a high level. What do you need? What should be the right message or nudge to send these people? Then it gets reviewed by a human, and that's when it starts to generate the entire email content, which again is reviewed by by a human, and then the automatic loop starts. So in typical existing marketing automation tool, it's bottom up, where you first create the content, come up with the hypothesis, and kind of send those emails, and you hope for the best. But those emails don't get updated automatically. Here, the emails get updated in two ways. One, if your product data changes, if people start to exhibit a different behavior within your product, it updates the content automatically. And it also updates based on the response rates of the emails, like how people are clicking, opening. That goes back into this loop, this smaller loop that I've created. Cool. So like I said, the first agent is the who to send. It automatically, I think the key word I want to emphasize is automatically generate cohorts once the data is connected. And that is not something that you can do in any existing tool. Typically, you'll do it in somewhere else in a BI tool. What to send is what LLMs were really built for, which is AI-powered writing, and it uses the first-party data that you have that provides it the right context. And that context, as you know, is very important to the LLM. If it has the right context, then it produces really good emails. And we've been experimenting with this for the past couple of years. And in the last 6 months, the models have gotten so much better that it is now usable and production ready. Last year around this time, the same LLMs were producing stuff with the same sort of context that wasn't even close to production quality. And with the recent advances in the last 3 or 4 months, it's getting better and better. You can do reasoning. You can, you can drive from a goal down to the task in much more what you would expect. I think the promise has been there ever since ChatGPT launched a couple of years ago. But to see it in production is when we are seeing that the quality of this entire sort of chain of workflows is really good. And when to send is it's a very basic thing, is triggering emails at the right time based on product usage data. So those are the 3 agents. And these agents are able to compose emails that are meaningful. So, it develops trust with your users. Like if it's coming from this particular company, it's meaningful, it's brand compliant, and it's cross-platform. One big difference, or the biggest area of work for most companies, more marketing team and agencies, is to create pretty looking emails. That is the standard in lifecycle marketing, because if you are a company, you don't want to send something that is off-brand or suboptimal to people who have the highest intent. And that is where people spend so much time, and they get so bogged down with creating those brand compliant emails, that they lose focus on what the goal was. It's hard to do both, if you're a team of B2 marketers that are trying to figure out achieving a goal as well as making sure that the brand that is communicated is on point. Cool. So we have three, who should use this? So one of our first swim lanes is B2B SaaS, which is where my background is with Adobe and Evernote. And this really for reducing onboarding time for users. So when somebody signs up, you want to start a nudge campaign, get them further and further, and you want to do it automatically. You want this to be self-learning. You don't want to spend a lot of time doing that. And that's sort of our, that's where we started from. E-commerce is another area. So if you are, and by e-commerce, I mean like marketplace, really. But if you have lots of users, like if you have 10, 100,000 users, you want to start, really leveraging AI to, segment, nudge, and nudge people versus trying to do it manually or having a suboptimal workflow. And then there is product-led sales, which is nurturing of larger accounts, which is, pretty standard. So at Humanic, like I said, we started a couple of years ago. We experimented a lot with all the LLMs for this particular use case. We've sent more than 1 million emails across all of our customers, and our goal is to send better emails, not more. Thank you very much. Do I have time for a quick demo? Yeah. Cool. Let me show you a quick demo. So this is Humanic. It's free to log in, so you can log in. And if you want to create a new campaign, like here the data is connected. So I'll just show you real quick. So we have Amplitude and Stripe for this account that's already connected. And here are all the agents. So all the configuration is encapsulated now in the agent. If you look at an existing tool, all of the stuff is in templates or some configuration. Now all the intelligence is encapsulated in the agent, and you can go in and configure different types of agents to do different things. So this is our main thing. But to create, once the data is connected and the agent is set up with all the right context, you click here, and let's say you wanna do a demo. I'll just pick like these 400,000 users, and I say I want to start a nurture and education campaign, and I pick one of these agents. This is using the latest 3.7 Sonnet, and it will automatically start creating the entire campaign, but it's telling you what context it's using, which is coming from your data warehouse, and it starts to now, it's creating these 7, it's done the who to send, it's automatically split up these 400,000 users into these who to send. It's come up with a strategy, and now it's generating all these emails automatically. So the content and everything, I'll just show you, this will take some time, but like the content that it creates will look like, yeah. So this is an example of what you can configure and what will it generate. There's much more in this, for every campaign that we run, it also comes up with like what the impact is. So if I go back here to this campaign that was running in January, and 1 second, and I go back 60 days, oops, sorry. Too many things were running at the same time. Yeah, if I go back 60 days, it'll show you for every campaign how many people were actually converted and what the total impact was for this campaign. So this is how it learns. So it creates a campaign, it starts it, and then it's measuring, like if you connect it to Stripe, we'll know how many free to paid users happened, and it comes up with an actual dollar amount that each campaign is running. So every month, so this campaign in January raised like 6,000, and this one is 23,000. It keeps changing, and now we're, for March, it will start another one. So there is much more. Happy to talk more about anything related to this stuff. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you so much, Arjun. So many great takeaways to think about for email marketing. We all need that. Before that, maybe some question. Do you guys have any question? Yeah? All right. I'm going to start here and then I go over there. Can you please stand up for the camera?
Sure. My name also happens to be Arjun. But my question to the other Arjun is, within the campaign itself, is it full-on HTML editing or is it predefined? You don't have any customization? Can you talk a little bit about, as a creative, how can we add our flavors into the email marketing?
Absolutely. It's full-on HTML. We use a block editor like Notion. There are several flavors, so it's full-on HTML editing. If you've created your assets in Figma, and you can export the HTML, you can do absolutely everything customization-wise. But there is also, like, if you don't want to do like full-on HTML, like HTML is supported, but if you don't want to do that, you can always use, the basic editor. But yeah, it has full controls.
All right. The demo was awesome. One question is, I have some images in the email. Are those AI generated as well, or do they come from your data warehouse?
Not yet. That's our next step. To create brand compliant images, we're not there yet, but that is the next sort of, on our roadmap. But most of these are, like, the images itself are created by a designer, but the text around it and the layout, if you look at a marketing email, there is a header, the footer, there is a salutation, and there are some images, and there's text around. Mm-hmm. So outside of the images, all of those things is done by the agent.
Got it.
Including the layouts. For every campaign, you can specify in the configuration of the agent. If you don't specify, it'll take like the default values, but you can say, I want, 3 images, or I want this kind of, 2-column shape and stuff like that. And so it'll automatically take that and take the content from, we have a content library that I didn't show you. It'll pull the content from there and then create different variations throughout the campaign. So one campaign has typically 15 to 20 emails across different things. So it'll automatically adjust that. Again, you have to review that and say it's okay.
Got it. So on the content library, are those images tagged so the agent knows which image to grab from there?
You don't need to do that. The LLM automatically detects, like it can detect a cat. It can detect what that image is and where it should go. So that tagging metadata, like the DAM side of things that is very common, is now getting more efficient by LLMs automatically picking the images.
I want to go deeper with what my friend here has asked. Because you said it would generate all the sequence by itself, but for the images, what's the context you need to provide in order for the LLM to choose the design because I guess it's a big part also of the email.
Yeah. So if I go back to, so the context is here. There is a strategy for the campaign. So think of it as a high-level strategy. And there is a strategy for a sequence. And there is a strategy for the email. So there is 3 layers of strategy. What is the goal for the campaign? What is the job to be done for the sequence? And what is the strategy for the email? And that allows the agent to pick the right image from the content library and construct the email. So it's basically taking the images that you have in the content library and the text it already knows how to generate based on these things and juxtapose them together.
And does it pick by himself the images, meaning that you already have thought about the image that will be added in all of the emails? Or does it suggest it to you?
Not yet. So you need to have, like, I'll just quickly show you. So like if I go into Figma and if I have, these kind of emails,
Maybe two.
like this is the standard way in which people create emails, but these graphics you would import into the content library, just this style in here, or just this welcome banner, and I'll create the entire content for you. Cool.
Hey there. I'm a marketer who's marketed MarTech, which is kind of meta. But on my side, like
You have done what? Sorry, I didn't get that.
I'm a marketer and I've worked for B2B MarTech companies, but so it's really interesting what you're doing. I guess one question for like the customer side is, you have 5 years of email campaigns sitting in a repository with how many opens, clicks, and everything. What do you tell customers or clients that would come on about that? And then, as somebody who tries to get salespeople to write good emails, like, can that human be a salesperson instead of a marketer so that it routes all the account emails to them first and they can edit it?
Yeah, so there are collaboration features. So yes, you can have anyone, you can invite other people and they can approve it. In terms of migration, we have a single-click migration from most of the tools like HubSpot and Customer.io, et cetera. And what we do is, like, let's say you're using Customer.io or HubSpot. We take all of your existing assets and campaigns, and that goes into the content library. That's what becomes the base for the agent to write brand compliant emails. So the more successful campaigns you run with existing tools, that is actually a benefit because that stuff is not wasted. That gets sucked in, and that trains the agent to do better emails based on what you've already spent time, hours, weeks, months, years building.
Hey, I'm Roshan. I'm also a marketer. This is super amazing because creating so many cohorts has always been a challenge. So I have a question around the lead and customization. So what level of customization? I saw like hundreds of thousands of people are there. So are you pulling data from the CRM based on their stages, or how do you actually customize, and what is the level of that customization?
Yeah. So when we suck in data from a CRM, so these are like 400,000 users, we automatically, I didn't want to in a demo get into this much detail. We automatically, for like your free users, let's say you have 400,000 free users, our segmentation agent divides them into a set of milestones based on product usage. So whether you have this data in a CRM or segment or amplitude, these are people, 100,000 users that have done no activity. These are people who've done some activity. These are more activity, even more activity. So what the campaigns are using is, when you start a campaign, your goal, we assume, is to move people from step 1 to step 2, step 2 to step 3, and so on and so forth. So it takes this information, and this is basically a set of events that are coming in. This is coming from amplitude, and is being grouped together as people who've done no activity. It takes this and then generates the content to say, you need to do some, these are all the value props, or this is how to do things to get people to engage. So it's like micro nudging based on where the user is. And these are mutually exclusive. So if somebody immediately goes and starts doing, they start profile optimization, they will stop receiving these emails and they'll start doing this. So another way to think about it, for those who are familiar, in existing tools, the orchestration and the content is intertwined. You have a tree where you say, if somebody clicks, then do this. If somebody doesn't click, do this. And that's intertwined with the content. What Humanic with us, this thing that I'm showing you is an orchestration mechanism, because it's created all these different cohorts, and they are mutually exclusive. So if somebody moves from this cohort to that cohort based on their activity, they start getting different sequences. So we are meeting users where they are within the product. Versus, like today, if you set up something, you would take these, over 400,000 users and send them a welcome series. And those would be probably time-based. First day this, third day, seventh day, 15th day, etc. But the person has not even done any activity. They are absolutely not interested in setting up a demo because they couldn't log in. They lost their password or something, crapped out on them. So our, focus is to meet the user in your product, which is meaningful to them, so that they use it more. And then the last step would be this intent to upgrade. If people have done all of these steps, only then do you want to, get the salespeople involved to say, yes, these are, what are called in PLG, the PQLs, product qualified leads.
All right. Thank you so much, Arjun, for this amazing session. And guess what, guys? He will be at the conference and possibly hosting a workshop, so you can be trained on Humanic AI. And I'm excited to try it as well. Now let's welcome Paul to the stage. He's going to talk about the Navigator Collective and his work around AI and how human is enhancing AI or AI enhancing human. That's it. Let's give Paul a round of applause.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Allison. It's good to be back. The group has gotten larger since the last time I presented last summer. So congrats on that. It's good to see everybody. Let me just get the presentation going. Okay, good. Okay. All right, thank you. So last summer I came and I presented a product demo essentially when we were very young at the time, I think 6 months or something from inception. And now I'm going to present a case study which sort of takes some of these demos that I shared and puts them into action. I was hoping to have a friend and colleague here this evening, Bill Beasley, who's the innovation director at St. Francis High School, which is a Holy Cross high school down the peninsula, down in Mountain View. Given the weather today, it was going to be a little bit difficult for him to get all the way up to the city in evening traffic, so gave him a pass, and I'll cover for him to the best of my ability. Yeah, he's a seasoned innovation lead within the health tech space, and joined St. Francis 9 months or so ago to be their innovation director, essentially standing up an innovation program where there wasn't one existing previously. And I've been working with St. Francis for, 2 or 3 years now, and we helped rebrand them. The nice logos and color palettes and things that are in this presentation came from some prior work that I did with them. And we decided, to help Bill and his team out, very small team, matter of fact, let's do a workshop to think about the strategy for this innovation program. What should be included? What are we going to call it? Who should be involved? All of these things, and let's use Navigator approaches and technology to make that even more successful. So I'll talk for a second about Navigator Collective. We're kind of like an agency. We're not a software company. We're more professional services. We are really kind of nichely focused on this idea of doing co-creation workshops. We've done a lot of them over the years for a lot of different clients all over the world. And sort of the new twist is that we use AI agents in that process as well. These are kind of our main agents. And to be fair, the developers in the room will probably laugh because they're custom GPTs. They're not really, agents per se, but we give them faces and we give them names and extensive training in their domain. And they are somewhat autonomous. They're just built within ChatGPT, and they help the participants in the workshop progress through a strategic process, to an ideation process, to a development process, and so on. And so I'll demo a little bit what these look like shortly. And then did I lose my, okay, there we go. there's 30 or 40 of us. We're all independent contractors. We're connected pretty much all over the country, and a few folks outside of the country as well. And we can cover kind of the end-to-end process as well. But sort of just talking about innovation at St. Francis, you know, we met, we were talking about it, we started to think about some of these big questions that were gaps, things that we needed to answer. You know, what is our vision for the overall program? What types of projects? So Bill's role is to go out and find corporate partners and bring them in and do a project with students that involves innovation, design thinking, et cetera. What kind of projects should be included? What should not be included? Which partners should we pursue? Which should we not pursue? What sort of experience do we want to design and shape for not only the corporate partner, but also for the students? How could alumni be involved? Donors, et cetera. How do we make sure that it's not short-lived, it's not a flash in the pan, that it's enduring and it's scalable, that folks can stay with it? And how do we measure success? How do we keep track of that? So these are all some of the big questions that we aim to answer in our workshop. And we kind of call it human-powered, AI-enhanced. I would say last year we were talking about it actually the opposite way, that it's AI-powered with a little bit of human, but really the secret sauce is the kind of the blend of those two things. And it really is the humans in the room who are doing the ideation. The agents are just there to support them and help them. First thing we did was identify 10 key participants. We wanted stakeholders across the organization that would be key to adoption going forward. We actually start off on the social psychology side of things, and we send out a DISC assessment to everyone who's participating in the workshop. DISC is a sort of communication styles assessment. It helps people understand how they communicate and how to better communicate with others. But we don't just let them get the readout and kind of stop there. We have a dedicated agent that will have a conversation with them and allow them to deeper dive on their readout. And if, I'll kind of demo this in a minute, but if you're a CD style like I am, what styles am I likely to be able to collaborate better with? What styles might I struggle with? How can I work around that in a workshop? How can I overcome some of the issues I faced in prior workshops? How can workshops be more fun for me? And the agent's really, really helpful in that regard. Then we bring everybody into the session and we start having conversations about Jungian archetypes, the 12 archetypes, the magician, the hero, all of these things. But at a personal level, which archetypes are you, and how does that influence your ability to innovate? And as part of this sort of cognitive behavior therapy that we've brought into the workshop to help people think about themselves differently and sort of change their own ability to, take risks and put forward bigger ideas and not be afraid, in the group setting to put themselves out there. Then we have agents that help with the ideation process, the selection process. Those same agents also help roll up if we have a whole bunch of ideas, that roll it up to a bigger strategy. And I'll show kind of how that works. And then afterwards, we actually came out of the workshop with 10 different strategies from 10 different participants for what this program should be and all the pillars of it and everything. I'll show what that looks like in a second. We used AI again on the back end to take all of that content, which was thousands and thousands of words and a bunch of pictures, to be able to roll that up and say, well, what is the path forward for this program? So rather than trying to bounce back and forth between all the different tools and platforms that we used, I hastily pulled together a screen capture video this morning that I'm not claiming to be a video editor, so bear with it being a little bit rough, but just kind of walking through a demo. This is silent film, and I'll just narrate. There's a couple of capabilities slides in here that talk about the Navigator Collective. This is our unique trademark methodology called EveryBrain that incorporates social psychology and cognitive behavior therapy with AI and design thinking and Agile. And so before the workshop, like I said, we sent out an online DISC assessment and an AI and a link to an agent or custom GPT where folks could have a conversation about what they got. That custom GPT is deeply trained on there's like 12 different segments of the pie on DISC and, tens of thousands of words on each one. And so keeping it, relatively nutshell for the lay user, to be able to just have a conversation with Alex Taylor and be able to ask them about, what should I do differently in workshops? How could I collaborate better? How could I get over some of those sticking points? adding value beyond what you get from the company that does the DISC assessments is called Wiley. Beyond what you get from Wiley, really being able to say, okay, well, how could I apply this? How could I, I've really struggled with D's my whole career, like those kinds of things. And it's just you and the computer, so, it doesn't get saved by anybody. And that person can be really honest. And we've had some really good feedback from folks coming into the sessions that it was transformative for them to be able to have that kind of deeper dive. Then we introduced them to Carlos Hernandez, who does the Jungian archetypes. And these GPTs walk people through, so the person is not having to prompt, the GPT is actually prompting them. And so in this case, he's asking them 10 questions that get at, why did you choose your profession, and why do you live where you live, and have you moved around a lot in your life, and why, how has that influenced you? And by the end of the 10 questions, he'll give you an innovation super persona that combines your answers to those 10 questions, takes those and kind of turns them into Jungian archetypes, adds in your DISC style as well, and then writes a whole narrative for you about, you as an innovator and what you need to be successful and what you need to watch out for that might limit your success, and what you need other people around the table to, we call them gimmies. What sort of gimmies do you need from other people around the table? And so then we have some human-to-human exercises baked in too, where each person will kind of compare. So this was a virtual one, and we were working on murals. Sometimes we're in the room, we're working on cards, but everybody's kind of generating images. They're pasting in their narratives. They're reading them out. They're talking to each other about them. I've literally had people say that this process changed their lives and career trajectories and whatnot. It's kind of crazy to think that a custom GPT could do that, but it is kind of interesting. People don't necessarily introspect that way a lot of times. Then we have a handful of agents that we do with ideation, and they have multiple prompts in their knowledge, so we have trigger words for each prompt, and we try to have fun with it. This one's banana pajamas, and it starts this prompt, and it'll walk the user through the ideation process rather than the user having to do any prompt engineering. And so there was a document that was uploaded that contains all the details for the brainstorm that we're doing, and so it's reading that document, it's kind of rolling it up. Depending on where the user jumps in the process, they might have been the ones to develop this document, working with a different agent that we have that does strategy. In this case, we kind of jumped right to it. We gave everybody this document, and then we started this turn-based ideation, right? So this is the agent contributing an idea. What if we did this? And then giving you a little tip. Here's, maybe scamper or provocation or just different tips on ideation. And then the user will go in and give their idea. And this is just me coming up with some random thing this morning. And I don't type that fast. So I set the video to like 400% or something. And then there's this positive reinforcement built in because we believe in the social psychology aspect of it. So all of the agents are trained on cognitive behavior therapy, social psychology, and inclusivity. And they're using positive reinforcement. They're using behaviorist principles. Then we go through all our ideas. We get a nice list. In this case, I cut it short. It was like 5 ideas. And we move on to the next prompt, which is the scoring. And so it's kind of doing some nice prep work here. And each of these agents has a bias in terms of what types of ideas they favor, and is like explicitly telling you what my bias is. I like big, bold, creative ideas. I like practical, feasible ideas and things like that. And so then they'll go in and they'll score them on design thinking criteria, desirability, feasibility, and viability, and give you some rationale, and rank your ideas for you. And then the user can then stand up. We usually have, say, top 5, and you can disagree with the agent, whatever. If you feel strongly this is your top 5, then put it on the board. And then we'll do some human-to-human conversation, right? And just let people ideate and talk and then get more sparks. And so we had 10 people in this workshop, and there was, top 5 from everybody. We had 50 kind of like ground level ideas. What should this program be doing in the day-to-day? But then we had to kind of zoom out and roll it all up. And I'm not demoing the AI experience here, but this is agent-led as well. So there's prompts that we drag in that help you, once you have that chart of ideas, roll them up into some of the things we see here. We need a name. We need an elevator pitch. We need like 3 pillars of our strategy here. We need kind of our guiding principles. We need to think about the channels that we're going to activate in. and we need to think about some of the constraints and resources that we're going to need to be aware of. So I'm kind of scrolling through the mural board here in this video of the 10 contributions that we got, which is a lot. And this was a 4-hour workshop. So we had 10 kind of top to bottom strategies for what to do with this program in the 4 hours. And what we had to do after that was take it offline and roll it up. So we used agents again to be able to look at that output of 10 things and say, okay, what should we do with it? And then we did a couple rounds of more like traditional process where we put something forward and had a meeting and talked about it and refined it a little bit. But on a time scale of days versus weeks, kind of old school, you'd come out of a workshop like that, you wouldn't present anything for 2 or 3 weeks. We presented our first round like a couple days after the workshop. So, and we landed on this idea of L.E.A.P. So the St. Francis High School mascot is the Lancers. And Lancer L.E.A.P was kind of a nice catchy phrase, and then there's these 4 pillars that are baked into it that spell out the acronym. And then we were, kind of spent some time really wordsmithing this, but the first iteration of this came straight out of ChatGPT. And we're very transparent about that. We send it over in a day, and hey, we used AI, and here's where we feel pretty good about it. We made a few changes, and here's kind of the whole sort of messaging house and strategy house. And so that was kind of late last year, early this year that all of that came together, and now it's out in the world, and they're making partnerships with companies in the South Bay and bringing them in for workshops and semester-long programs and short-term things, long-term things to help the community, to solve big, hard problems and so on. So all because we were able to come together and bring the right stakeholders together in the room, use AI to accelerate the process and come up with some great ideas and build a foundation for something that did not exist before. And like I said, total time scale from brief to completion was about 10 days. And from workshop to first pass was 4 hours in the session and then a couple days afterwards to roll it up. So anyway, that's the presentation. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing your expertise. I have in mind a phrase from Einstein saying creative is intelligence having fun. So I guess your workshop is around this, and thank you. I think AI is not replacing human, but just finding way to improve and use our creativity. Any question? No question? Yeah?
Can we speak with the advisor, or it's only with prompting by text?
Yeah, great question. So you certainly could, in the workshop setting, when you've got maybe 6, 7 people around the table, it would get a little chaotic if everybody was doing it. We also do always have human facilitators in the room as well. But yeah, when ChatGPT rolled that out last year, their app with the voice interface, we were really thinking about how do we redesign maybe later in the day, hey, go to your separate corners and do this on voice to kind of have fun with it. So yeah, we're certainly open to it. The text is a little bit easier sometimes in the workshop setting, but you certainly can.
And for all the Figma or like the FigJam boards, are those created with a Zapier integration, or it's you manually take the IDs and you, okay, cool.
Yeah, it has to be kind of low tech. So a lot of times we're working with folks who are, not very techy. Maybe they're on the sales team or they're in HR or some non-tech discipline. And having 2 windows side by side, literally when we were doing beta testing, that was a major barrier for users. And so, even just cutting and pasting for ChatGPT to Mural can slow the process down quite a bit. And if we try to do something additional with an integration, I mean, it might be worth exploring. We don't currently do it, but we just try to keep it as lo-fi as possible for folks. So.
Another question: how do you see AI adoption within the teams? Like, what are the main concerns? Can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, happy to. I joined a meetup group with strategists and planners, kind of agency strategists and planners. I think it was in January, and they were kind of reflecting on 2024 and where do we go as a group in 2025. And they were reading out a survey that they had sent out to all their team members, and AI was in the answers to every single survey. And it was like, okay, cool, there's a lot of interest around AI. And there was about 8 of us on the call. And so, I was the guy who runs the AI company, and everybody else was like an agency strategist or planner. And I'm pretty bullish on it, so I was, really promoting, like, what could we do? But there was folks who were like, and mind you, January 2025, like, yeah, I haven't used ChatGPT yet. I'm not sure, like, I don't know what the use case would be. And there was lots of folks in between. And I think it kind of mirrors what I tend to experience around the table in a workshop as well, where, we did one last year that had, it had a lawyer, a student, a chef, a coder, who else did we have? A professor. Just really diverse group of folks, and the level of sort of tech savvy and the level of adoption of AI was all over the map. And so it's really interesting for a business like this where, you're blending things that are analog and sort of human to human and AI, and you've got tech adoption sort of all over the place, and you don't know who's going to be a power user versus like really, really slow. Like some people don't finish the exercises on time because they're just having trouble, just using it. And so it's very interesting, and it's definitely influenced our sales cycle and all of that as well. So great question.
Thank you. One more question.
Hello, congratulations, nice presentation. I would like to know if you do these projects by online, because sometimes people are not in presence, and just to interact online with many people around the world, trying to figure out some challenge.
Just to make sure I understand the question, to do
this job you did with this school, this college, if you are able to do with some companies, with employees in different parts of the world to find some kind of solution.
Yeah, thank you for rephrasing that. But yeah, absolutely. They all did happen to be co-located in the same conference room. I wasn't with them, which was kind of fun. We did the whole thing on Zoom. But I've done so many workshops over the years. There was one where we had Europe, Asia, United States, and India all on at the same time, and we were workshopping 4 hours. And for some of those folks, it was 1 a.m, and for some of those folks, it was midday, and we just powered through it. And so yeah, can absolutely do that. And that's a big part of what we do, is bring people together across geographies, across different levels, across different functions, breaking down the silos that a lot of times get in the way of people solving these kinds of problems together, right? And so we're all for it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Paul. Let's give Paul a warm round of applause, please. And let's welcome AG to the stage. Where is he? Do you? Very easy.
No worries. Hello, everyone. My name is EJ. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of a company called Tofu. And I think there was a previous presenter that said that they shared a few months ago. We also presented, I think it was shortly after we raised our seed round about a year ago. And it's great to see how this community is evolving. And I've been a huge fan of the AI User Conference in general. So excited to be back. We also recently raised our Series A round, and we're kind of hiring across product, engineering, multiple go-to-market functions. So if anything I share here today sounds interesting, please feel free to reach out. So what Tofu does is a B2B marketing platform. We help B2B marketers really scale their campaigns across different channels. We help them personalize their existing assets across different customer segments like personas, different industries. A lot of companies want to do one-to-one ABM, but it's really struggling to scale that. Some content teams want to repurpose their existing content, think like you have a webinar, and from that webinar, there's so much derivative content that you have to create, right? You have to create a social post, maybe some LinkedIn ads, a follow-up marketing email, maybe a landing page, and all of this takes so much time. So really try to think about the holistic picture of a marketer in a day-to-day and really help them at scale. So this kind of picture encapsulates at a high level what we do. There's so many different use cases and teams within a marketing team. So you have like the ABM team creating the one-to-one personalized pages for that customer segment across channels. You have the field event marketers that goes to events and do all the follow-up before and after the events. You have the content team that's always creating the social posts, the blog posts, and what have you. You have the paid digital marketers creating content across channels, and so forth and so forth. And for each one of those use cases, the channels that they really adopt is not decoupled, right? They're very integrated. So we try to help these marketing teams create omni-channel campaigns under one platform. So yeah, the gist is that we have this single platform for all your content needs. One thing we really care about, and this was out of necessity, like marketers really care about their tone and the output. They're able to kind of sniff kind of the nuances around just a plain vanilla ChatGPT output versus something that they would really output in their marketing team. So we have this really elaborate content quality evaluation framework within our team that we built in-house, where we use both like AI language models to try to identify the ones that are really on brand, following the brand guidelines. If you have a previous blog post, make sure it follows that guideline as well. And we have human actually raters with a marketing background try to rate these and evaluate them with like extreme care. The overall theme that we kind of pitch to our customers is really helping them do more with less, right? Every team has limited resources, but there's so much that they have to do. So really helping them get to their content much more faster, go to market faster with less resource. It's really at the crux of what we do. Again, from a buyer perspective, another element that really we bring to the table is getting rid of all those individual point solutions and having that one platform where you can create multiple content across different channels. And as a user and a buyer, be able to see and operate those multi-channel campaigns under one platform is a huge plus. So we have like one of our champions mention, like when they evaluate vendors, like there's an x-axis and a y-axis. On the x-axis, they see, well, what are all the different use cases within my organization that can benefit from this tool? And on the y-axis is what's the peak ROI I would get, or each use case would get if they use this tool. So having that platform that can support multiple use cases ends up being a huge plus that we've learned. We have customers everywhere from like public companies that use our tool to really gain benefit, to fast-growing startups, and everything in between. This is just kind of an illustration of one of our customers and how they're creating content. Like RingCentral is a huge public company. There's hundreds of marketers using our tool today. And it's really spread out, right? Like they're creating blog posts, they're creating case studies, they're creating marketing emails, SDR outbound emails, they're creating landing pages. So being able to do that holistically under, again, one platform is not easy, but if you are able to do that, it's a huge benefit for the user. So how does Tofu work? I'll spend probably most of my time actually doing a demo because I always like seeing demos to see if it actually works, and you kind of get a better sense of what this actually all is. But I do have 2 slides to kind of summarize what we do at a high level. First, it's really important to understand that company, right? You can, again, there's so many tools out there that you can prompt it and it will give you something. But is that really as close as possible to what your marketing team would create today? Not necessarily. So we really put a lot of effort to create what we call a playbook for your company. So as soon as they come to your website, as soon as they use Tofu, they upload their website, and we go and crawl and scrape their website. So obviously, we want to understand what services they provide, what products they sell, who do they sell to, what's their tone. They can upload their own brand guidelines. They can integrate with their CRM, be that Salesforce or HubSpot, pull in all their accounts. For each of those prospects, we do account research. So we do a lot of that initial upfront work. And that actually ends up being very critical for the customers to like get an output that, again, they feel comfortable using. So at the crux, we have that playbook, which is like this innate built knowledge graph for each one of our customers. I mentioned a little bit about the account research that we do at scale, and I'll show you that in a bit. And then after that, it's really the content engine. We have what we call a factory, and it's really building repeatable templates for your campaigns. Think about one webinar that you have to run or a podcast that you did. Again, for that one episode, you're creating like emails before for people to sign up. For the people that didn't sign up, maybe you have a different flow in your marketing automation tool. Maybe you're sending emails, some social posts. After the webinar, you're sending up follow-up emails to summarize it, another social post, a landing page. And then 2 weeks later, you're doing that all over again, right? And these are the things, by the way, people don't want to do, right? So and this is kind of the perfect use case for tools to help you really scale that part. So building repeatable campaigns where you kind of set up all the different workflows and then using that again for your next campaign where you just swap out that webinar or you just swap out that anchor content is at the crux again at what we try to do. Integrations is actually very, very crucial for more large enterprises. So we have deep integrations with all the marketing automation tools, HubSpot, Marketo, like the CRMs, like the Salesforce of the world. We also have kind of an integration where we can build dynamic landing pages. So we have a simple way where it works whether you're using Webflow, Contentful, WordPress, your custom-built CMS, it does not matter. And we spend a lot of effort there. Yeah, so that's kind of an overview. I'll just go in right to the demo. Let me try to pick up it. So this is an instance that we have for, let's say, the company box, right? And I talked about the playbook a bit before, so I'll start there. At the beginning, someone comes in, we try to onboard them, they put in their company website, and again, as soon as they put the website, we actually go to their website, crawl, scrape, the positioning, their messaging, and try to really understand how they speak to their customers today. A lot of customers can add additional information, like their product overview, competitive landscape. There's a lot of things that they have internally as a marketer that ends up being, again, very crucial for us. So they can always add more information in the format of like a PDF file, a link, whatever you have. And then targets is for more deep level of personalization. A lot of customers, again, if you're a B2B marketer, you've segmented your customer into different persona groups, different industry verticals, one-to-one ABM, one-to-many ABM. And again, this part is the part that's really hard to scale. So you can define these, what we call customer segments or target lists. And the idea is once we have these lists defined, these are all accounts, but it can be quite generic. It can be like different personas, different industries. We can do it at the company level, and we can do deep CRM integrations. For each of these CRMs, we can kind of pull in whatever record you have. So imagine, let's say your sales rep left some notes saying, oh, we lost these like 20 logos last quarter because of so-and-so. Imagine being able to pull all of that information at scale. So you're using private information that you have internally, and then also public information that might know about that account, and using all that information to then now create the actual content. So we have deep workflow integrations to enable teams to do this. We can also do personalization at the individual contact level. People might want to create a landing page based on keywords. It really doesn't matter how you are slicing and dicing your current customer segment today. You can define it here, and the idea is that we will use this later. Just to give an example of what we do, when I talked a little bit before about account research, so let's say we have these 5 public SaaS companies that I really want to target. These are great companies that I think we can kind of close this quarter. If you really want to do more of that one-to-one personalization, you have to do some level of account research, right? So I discussed before how we can pull that information that might be living in your CRM. But what about anything outside, right? So for each one of these accounts, we do a summary of what they're doing. We automatically try to extract what are some of the pain points ServiceNow might be facing today in the context of what Box provides. What are some of the value propositions? And again, like if you actually ask a B2B marketer, they're doing this individually in a spreadsheet, each tapping an account, spending weeks just to set this up. So this just provides a very easy way to kind of scale that account research. People share this with their sales teams, so we're able to export all this account research that we're doing for them to their Salesforce, to their HubSpot. We also have like integrations with different data providers that can enrich your existing data sources. We also have integration with Perplexity, so anything that you want to find about this account, you can just search. So you can say, what are the latest business priorities based on latest news or earnings? Yeah, so you can search anything at scale and then apply that same search results for all, let's say, 200 accounts that you're really going after. For each one of them, we are able to pull these things out. We have references, obviously, and then we'll save this information. So this is kind of the playbook, and like I mentioned a little bit, you can upload your style guide. You can create custom tones that really emulates a specific person in your company or a specific content type. So we have customers that create tones for their blog posts, and that might be different from their SDR email. So you can kind of create these custom tones that, again, I talked really about that quality. So the more context that you're able to provide to these models, we've learned that it does a really good job emulating, but if you don't, it doesn't have a chance, right? So we have a lot of places that we do where you can upload your style guide. Assets, these are anything from your case studies, your blog post, your webinars, your podcast, all these different assets that you might have that from that you want to create derivative assets for. You can upload here as well, and I'll show how we can all use this. So let's actually go and create some campaigns, some content. So I'll create a new campaign. By default, we have all these different templates that are kind of the core use cases that a lot of marketers use. We're going to add more and more, but I'll just start blank. Let's say I want to start maybe an ABM campaign. We have a few different actions that you can add. So in this case, I want to personalize some content. So let's say I want to add a landing page. So let me try that. Let's go in. The first step you do is choose the targets that you want to personalize this landing page for. This is where you pull in all that information from the playbook that we did the deep account research for. So let me go ahead and select, let's say, these 5 public SaaS companies, and we're going to personalize this landing page for those 5 companies. The first step we do now is we have those targets. We're going to upload what we call a template. So it depends. I think once you're past Series A, I know there's a lot of tools that can create a whole new website for you, but they're kind of a little bit hesitant for that. Obviously, you can imagine they have their existing landing page templates, they have their visual cues, they have their format, so they really want to make sure it adheres to that. So we start with templates. You can start with Scratch. I've uploaded their website in advance, so we can kind of pull that here. So we've got their box website, so I'll use this template. So at this step, we've kind of broken this landing page into different components that you can select and kind of modify. So let's say you can select as many as you want. Some might not make sense, but for the purpose of this, I'll just select as many as I would want to. So I've selected these like 5 components. And then you can always add instructions in terms of like how you want this specific component to be changed based on that specific account. But I'll just go ahead and then kind of follow up. So let's say I want to really personalize this landing page for Okta. So what this is doing under the hood is, first of all, it's trying to understand the existing messaging on that landing page. We don't want to diverge too much there. We pulled in all the account research that we know about Okta that we did at scale and tried to kind of mesh that in with this current landing page. So obviously, it knows that Okta is an identity user access control provider. So it kind of focused on that. We found that it's really important. There's different phases when people adopt AI. And the first phase is building trust. So we've learned that having people in the loop is actually very crucial. Now, after that phase, once we have built that trust with our marketers, there's different areas where you can now put things on autopilot, so full agentic workflow, and we'll talk about that as well. But it's really important to get to that phase, and not everyone is able to get to that phase immediately. So we have workflows where the humans are deeply in the loop, meaning they can kind of review these different contents one by one. We give different variations. You can always add more instructions. You can regenerate. So we will try to really incorporate the users in the flow. So let's say I wanted to add instructions and say, add an emoji that is relevant for the target company's industry. So, I mean, not that you would really do this, but just to kind of show you like what the different controls we have within our platform to the marketers, so they can like, give fine-grained instructions. All right, okay, this is the H1. I really want to have Tofu focus on this. They do have the ability to do that. So now, like, it does this, and then it'll do this at scale for all the other 4 accounts that we pulled in. Again, human in the loop, so you can kind of look through this. We're learning through all this process, by the way. So every time a person makes an edit here or adds a custom instruction, we feed that back to as context to the model. And then the next time it's generating content for a different target, it knows that, oh, by the way, previously the user said they like this version better, so use that as a reference. So there's always this feedback loop that's happening within our platform. Cool, so once we have this, we can kind of generate these landing pages. And then, yeah, it's just a really easy, scalable way to create, in this case, 5 different landing pages. We're also able to export all these landing pages. So let's see. We have, you're able to push this as one-off landing pages in like HubSpot, Marketo. You can also embed a script so that it works with any, again, website builder that you're using, be that Webflow, Contentful, or WordPress. But how this works is in 2 ways. One, you can have a URL where at the end of the query parameter states the target company you personalize this landing page for. So if you're sending this with part of like an email that I can create right now, that person will get a personalized email that's also now linked with that personalized landing page. Let me actually just do it right now. So let's say, okay, great, I have a personalized landing page. This is where the omni-channel and having multiple channels under one platform really comes into play. So let's say, okay, now I want to pair this like with an email SDR. So I'll add this as an additional content. I've already selected the 5 targets. A lot of times companies have even their own email template. So we have, again, all these safeguards in place where people can upload their template. Since we don't have one, I'll just have Tofu generate an email for us right now. And again, similar, we did all that account research. It's first gonna create a personalized email for just one account. At this phase, again, lots of places where people have fine-grained control. You can select the parts you want to personalize. So let's say I want to select these 2 components and have Tofu personalize it. Let's test it for Atlassian. And yeah, similar framework. Like you built that personalized landing page. Now you built this personalized email. Now maybe you want to pair that with a personalized, LinkedIn message, and you can all have that under one place. And the great thing is now the messaging is very coherent and starting from the same source that you're using across different channels. One thing I hear, by the way, when we chatted with a lot of CMOs, they really think in terms of campaigns, not channels. But when they run one campaign, someone created that landing page. Some other team is writing the emails that drive traffic to that landing page. Oh, the white paper that people download on that landing page, some other agency wrote it like 3 months ago, right? So there's this willingness to provide a more cohesive messaging for one campaign, which is hard to do. But again, having that one platform be able to stem from that core anchor content or that core messaging and create different content really enables this that we've seen a lot. Cool. And then, let me see. Oh, I did want to show one thing. So one thing we can also do is, check out our website that we built for you. We can link also the landing page that we built earlier. So again, think about, okay, great. There's this tool that gives me 25 different personalized landing pages, and there's this other tool that writes email for me. But the problem is, like, how do you link that all together? Another benefit of having all of this in one platform is that you can link these two, assets together, right? So now imagine in Marketo, I have like 500 contacts across 30 companies. They all get the personalized email, but we also have a CTA that links to the personalized landing page that we built for them. So being able to kind of intertwine these assets and manage them again together is a huge benefit. Let me do another campaign that's slightly different. So in this case, let's say it's not personalization, it's more about repurpose or product launch campaign. So I'll use the repurposing flow this time. And I saw some videos of Box kind of announcing a new platform, a new product on YouTube. So again, like you can upload your YouTube link, you can upload your like raw MP3 file for your podcast or your video file. We will automatically transcribe it, speaker annotate it, and then use that for, again, all the content that we're going to create. So we'll use this as our core anchor content. But from that, let's say you're a marketer, we just did this big announcement, we went to this event, and we had this session, and from that, there's a lot of stuff you have to do, right? So let's say, okay, from this, I want to create a marketing email sequence, maybe like a sales sequence for our sales team as well, maybe a LinkedIn post, maybe a blog post summarizing it. Let's maybe pull some quotes and highlights from it so that I can use it from other social posts, whatnot. So there's different content that you can create from this one anchor content. So here you can kind of see your whole campaign mapped out. So I'm going to create and generate, pull some quotes and highlights from it. I'm going to create 3 email sequences. I'm going to create my social post. Let's run my marketing nurture campaign based on this new product launch that we did, and also create a blog post. Again, Tofu, we don't have that much right now in the style guide, but again, if the company uploaded previous templates of what their blog posts look like, we can really emulate and follow that format as close as possible. If they uploaded previous social LinkedIn posts of what a typical social post looks like for them, we create a custom tone, and then we can also follow that in our output as well. So let's maybe look at one of these marketing emails. So we've kind of created this email, same flow. You can review the results. You can do one by one. This is just text right now, but you can also upload an HTML email template. So if you have an HTML email, like in HubSpot, you can also pull that in, and we can change parts of that email for you. So we support both HTML and text email. And the great thing is once you have this mapped out, you can also connect different actions, right? So let's say, oh, great, I have this marketing email, but now I want to go ahead and personalize this email across like all the people that joined our session, right? So maybe you went to an event and you want to follow up, but not only create these assets, but then personalize those assets for all the people that came. So I'll use the same kind of SaaS companies that I did earlier, but let's say these are the 5 folks that came into this session. You can now go ahead and personalize this email for them. So again, it's talking about BoxWorks, which is their new product announcement. But now you have the ability to go and like one by one personalize this and then push it back to HubSpot, Marketo, so you can actually act on it. So it's a really flexible way of thinking about how you map out this campaign at scale. And imagine now this being a template for all your events, right? So the next time you use this as your template, you duplicate this, and all you have to do is change out this anchor content to that new session or that new white paper, or what have you. And then you have all of this content readily for you. So again, thinking about how teams can do more with less, creating repeatable campaigns that's really on brand, doing omni-channel content so we're able to integrate that all together. That's kind of what we're doing here at Tofu. That's most of it of what I have to share today, so thank you. Yeah.
It was really great. Thank you for the hands-on session, really. And guess what? Tofu will be at the conference as well, so you can test this platform. Any question? Yeah.
Really nice to meet you in person, and a huge fan. My quick question is, for the branding side, is the data localized and can it be made in local instance, or is everything in the cloud? Everything is using LLMs that are publicly available, and if there's a roadmap to help brands who are very sensitive to their data being uploaded to a cloud, how do they do it locally with your AI?
Yeah, we don't have like local instances that they can deploy internally, but all of their data is encapsulated and enclosed with just their account. So we don't data share across accounts. And you're absolutely right. A lot of our prospects, especially enterprise companies, care a lot about that. And all of the models that we use the enterprise version, which they again don't use that to train their own models. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Other question? No question. Yay.
How does the backend work on the product? I'd love to hear more about how you're prompting these models, how you're training them, how you're able to, put all this data to then query all these, business outputs. How does the backend work?
At the most simplest level, we do use foundational models. So we use like the latest OpenAI models, like Anthropic, Llama 3. We actually test all these models. I talked about the quality evaluation framework earlier, and we test all the latest models based on the same criteria. And then on top of that, we have our own layer about that brand guidelines and like the account research that we do for each of those prospects. It's mostly a RAG that we pull it dynamically at runtime. But there are like special things that we do. For example, there's like these agentic flows that's happening on the background where we periodically crawl their website, pull in like their tone, their messaging, pull in that account research where we do value proposition and pain points for each of those prospects. So a lot of that is happening at the background to be able to be rich in terms of the context that we have for each of their prospects. But then in terms of how we apply that for generating content, we pull that dynamically at runtime based on the specific campaign, right? So if it's for one account, we pull all the information we have about that account and put that as additional context.
Great. We have time for one more question. Any other questions? No. Can you tell us a little bit more about Tofu? Like, how do we subscribe? Do we have credits? How does it work?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we're not a self-serve platform today. Really, our ICP is fast-growing startups like Series A, B startups that have small but mighty a marketing team, all the way to enterprise businesses. You can go to tofuhq.com to always learn more about our product. That said, we are launching a self-servable Chrome extension soon. And the idea, you saw that part about the personalized landing pages. So that by itself will be a separate product where imagine you go to your existing website, like the parts you want to personalize. From that, get like 100 landing pages that you can use. So that one will be a self-servable product soon that we're going to launch sometime next month. So.
Next month, okay. For the launching of the conference, maybe. Yeah.
Perfect timing. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, EJ.
Thank you.
Yes, we're about to close this event, but it's time for the open mic community announcement. So, who wants to talk? Yay! Okay, I don't have a slide for this, but come over here.
This is more intimidating than it was a year ago. So I remember pitching, I think, a year and a half ago when I first moved to San Francisco. So it's been a while, and again, thank you for user group for the opportunity. So since then, we ended up exiting the business. We sold both the two products that we ended up pitching here, a couple of blocks away. And so I'm kind of unemployed now. I'm looking for a product role in artificial intelligence. I've raised 7 figures, made 7 figures in revenue, 9 patents in artificial intelligence and compliance. So spoke to many of the founders here who have raised capital, but looking for a seed stage, Series A level company to make my next impact. And 33 right now. I've been doing ad tech since I was 16 years old. And I kind of like living between New York and San Francisco. So come talk to me. Thank you.
Nice. Very versatile. Yeah, come over here. You guys can come over here. Line up.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark. I'm from Clarvo, and I love the introduction because I'm in recruitment tech. And it's not just yourself that is interested in opportunities. It turns out that most of you, even if you're employed, you would be interested to know what kind of offers are still coming in. What we do is we map out your profile, we map out your preferences, knowing exactly what kind of salaries you're looking for, what kind of role really drives you, and then we let companies bid for your talent. So I will definitely talk with you. Let's see what kind of bids we can get for yourself, but also for everyone else, please, if you're open to finding out what's out there, use Clarvo. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. All right.
Hi, my name is Dheeraj. Sorry. My name is Dheeraj. I'm a co-founder of a site called Bookish. So let me show you. It's a Duolingo for non-fiction books. So if you read a book or you want to know about what's in the book, you can come to Bookish and you can actually have that experience, like a Duolingo kind of experience, and you can earn certificate. So I can show you like this. The book is basically broken down into like summaries, about section, FAQ, and then you can actually click on any of these, and then you get all the notes and everything. Sorry, it's slow. Yeah, so it's a practice session and all those things. It's work exactly like Duolingo, but it is for non-fiction books. And you have your streaks. But let me just end session. And then you have your own page where you can basically share all your progress. There is a leaderboard. And yeah, so when you get time, it's free completely. Please use it if you are interested. Right now we have around 300 books. We are adding more and more. And yeah, please give it a try and let me know your feedback. It's good. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Roshan. This is my first time in SF, first time ever saw a marketing meetup, so I had to come. I run a marketing company called Ads Ether. So we create videos. Now, how many of you are marketers over here, just to know? All right. So we covered a lot about text creation in different formats, at scale with emails, at scale with videos, with landing pages and a bunch of other things. I wanted to talk about videos, which is the most expensive form of marketing campaigns. It's super not personalized, and creating at scale is super difficult. So I'm going to show you something.
Hi, I'm Neha, and I work as a sales director, and PowerLead has been super helpful for us. So before, we were kind of struggling with way too many tools like lead gen, outreach, everything was all over the place, and it was expensive. But with PowerLead...
So you get the idea. We create such videos for brands, for startups, and the idea is to mix the best models out there. We have analyzed thousands and thousands of ads to figure out which works the best, which openers works the best. We train the models for them, and then we include on top of it the best editing which can be done. So we outsource, and we have a good enough, decent sized team to handle this. Would love to talk in person, and I'm here as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, can I go or do you want to go?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Zebo. Before I just tell you what I'm building, raise your hand if you use ChatGPT every day. Perfect. The thing is, millions of people are now using GPT, Perplexity, or other LLMs to find answers. Now, who here tried searching for your brand online or for what you do online and you saw your brand coming up? When I asked this question many founders in the past, they would tell me that whenever they search for a keyword that their startup represents, their brand is not showing up in LLMs. Why? Because SEO in the past was optimized for humans seeing it in Google, right? But now there is SEO for LLMs as well. And if anyone here wants to kind of learn more about what we are building basically a search engine optimization for large language models. And if you would like your company or your brand to actually show up in GPT and other models like that, my name is Zebo. Come find me after this talk, and I'm happy to chat with you about it.
Awesome. You after him. Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Aniket. I work at YouTube Ads. So I'm just here to meet marketing people here. And I'm just here to look some ideas for my internal projects. So I want to chat with marketers who have problems creating video assets, like which Roshan said, or any image assets, because I work on PMax and stuff like that. So yeah, feel free to chat with me. And if you want to know more about ads, you can ask me as well. Yep, thank you.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Amal. We're building something called Tempo Stack. At the risk of this getting boring, I will start with a question as well. How many of you are either building or are doing marketing for some sort of software platform? Show of hands, please. I'm guessing most of you are building some sort of software, right? Now, imagine doing all of this marketing, taking all of these lessons back, and trying to get hundreds of users to your platform, only to realize that the software is broken, or is not working, or is down right now, or you have some API that's breaking. That's the problem that we are solving for, ensuring that once you take something into production, it always stays in production. So TemperStack integrates with your existing monitoring stack and basically plays the role of an SRE for you. So we are an AI SRE. If you are frustrated with your engineering teams, not giving you enough reliability as you're spending so much time and effort and money on marketing, please come chat with me. It's temperstack.com. Would love to see how we can help you out. Thank you.
Thank you. So my name is Prati. I am the CEO and the founder of Sync. So at the risk of being super boring, raise your hand if you've had to make your own video for your marketing campaign. You had to record a video. Now keep your hand raised if it took you more than one take, like maybe 10 takes or 100 takes. So what we do is we train lip syncing models. So the idea is you record once, and you can just edit exactly what you've said and repurpose that content over and over again. We spun out of a lab. We've been around for about 1.5 years. We went through YC last year. We raised from Google. We won the AI grant, and we've been scaling up. And a lot of our, pull and people that are using us today are marketers, which makes a lot of sense. You can translate content, make it look seamless, enter new markets. You can replace dialogue, so you can test different copy as well. So imagine you make an ad once, and you can just copy test it without having to record over and over. So we're still feel like it's in the beginning of what's possible with the models that we're building, but I would love to chat with you and see if either we can plug in through our API or you can try out the product. Sync, S-Y-N-C.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Stefan. I'm the co-founder of L.E.A.P. We actually have nothing to do with creatives, so we are more from the side of marketing measurement. And marketing measurement is something, for those who don't know, it's usually for enterprise level, it's considered for enterprise level. And what we do is we make sure measurement runs on autopilot in the background. So yeah, for those of you who are interested in hearing more, we're going to be around. Come up and chat with us.
Hello. My name is Priya. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sortment. We are building agents for marketing, and our first agent is a data analyst agent. A lot of marketing tools obviously a lot of marketers have to rely on a lot of data to make decisions and do a bunch of this, and they have to rely on either a data engineer or a data analyst to do some of this, who's a shared resource across many departments. And it's not so easy to access their time. So what we are doing is basically creating a personal data analyst for every marketer, where any decision that they need to make, any data work that they need to do, can be routed through this particular analyst. And it is able to basically pull in data from their internal systems, be it a data warehouse or event systems like CDPs, and give them the data that they need to run their campaigns.
Thank you so much. All right, I think it's time to mingle and eat pizza. Thank you so much for joining, and see you soon. See you next month, and let's chat. Have a good evening. Wait.
Again, thanks a lot first for all of the documents, everything. Am I right that it's 15th of April? Because in the document it says 17th.
17.
So I was like,
is for developers, but 15 is for marketers. So
So it should be 15.
15,
Okay. No,
yeah.
but either works. But I just
yeah,
wanted
15.
to.
Yeah, I'll check the document. Might be a
Okay,
mistake
so
from my
I'm
side.
fine with that. But yeah, let me know if anything
15.
needed. Cool,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.